All right. So it is Joe?
Yes, it is. Everyone calls me Jasper. I don't mind either or.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And where did that come from, Jasper?
Jasper is my cat's name.
Your cat's name?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And how long is Jasper still around?
Yeah, Jasper's staying at a friend of mine's at the moment, just because of living situations. Yeah, he's still around. He's 6 years old now.
6 years old. Okay,
Yeah.
so still with a good amount of life left in him.
Yeah, he's an absolute menace. Yeah.
Very good. Do you mind if I ask what kind of cat he is?
He was a rescue, so I found him and the rest of his litter in a bin. And I was like, cool, I'm going to take all of these, and I kept them, got them all desexed and registered, and gave them out to people I trusted to look after them.
Very good.
I grew attached to Jasper and kept him.
There you go. There you go. And the name stuck with you somehow.
Yeah, I didn't want to use my name, so I was like, I'll just use that.
No, I think that's cool. So
Yeah.
you're known as Jasper or Joe. So you are Jasper_rides
Yes.
on Instagram.
Yep.
All right. And you're also the founder of Riders Retreat, or co-founder.
Yes. Yeah. So it was my sort of idea, but Jasmine put her boot up my ass to get it going, because I was like, I have this great idea, but I don't know how to get it started or
Yeah.
what to do. Yeah, so kind of mine and her thing. Leah's helps a lot with it too.
We'll spin the camera 360 to get Leah to the camera.
It's like, no.
Just take our word for it. Leah is here and she's watching. So tell us about the kind of work that Riders Retreat does. You're still feeling new, it's still a baby.
Yeah,
What's
it's
the
still
vision
in its
behind?
infancy. Doing anything we can to help the community and sort of bring people together. Because you get a lot of meets and rides, but I notice you have people, and they stay with their sort of group, they don't venture out from it. I want everyone to sort of know everyone and feel like really secure in the community. Yeah.
I feel the same way. I started late. I'm a late bloomer with the whole motorcycle thing. I wanted one for years, but as you get older, you feel like you got no time for cliques or groups or that kind of thing. You just want to be part of the group as a whole.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what niche it is. Okay, you just want to feel like you want to fit in. So is that kind of what Riders Retreat's all about?
Yeah, it is just the motorcycle community. It doesn't matter what you ride, where you come from, you're welcome there, come hang out.
Yeah, 2 wheels is 2 wheels, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, very good. All right. So tell
Even
us.
4. You want to come hang out and you got 4 wheels?
And even
come on in.
Even the spiders. I saw a spider in Fremantle like a few nights ago. 3 wheels, 2 wheels, 4 wheels. Okay, yeah. Everyone's part of the crew, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very good. So tell us about how you got into motorcycles.
Oh god, I've always loved motorcycles. Like I found engineering quite interesting as a child, playing with Lego and Meccano. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember Canano very well.
Yeah, so I loved all that stuff, and then found motorcycles through watching sort of just stuff on TV, and was like, I really want to get one of those. That looks a lot of fun. And as soon as I was able to learn to ride, jumped on a bike, just running around with friends on mopeds and stuff, and then came to Australia, went and got my license, and been riding ever since.
And where did you come from before?
The UK.
The UK. All right.
Yeah.
Which part of UK, if you don't mind me asking?
Eastbourne.
Eastbourne. I have no idea where that is.
So grew up near Croydon, which is like South London.
Yep.
And then we moved way down south to the south coast.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
I've got rallies in Burscough, but I think that's more west of London. Okay, we both don't know. Okay, it makes 2 of us. Okay, so you're fresh off the boat from England. You come to Australia. You want to get on a bike. What's your first bike?
It was a Yamaha Virago 250. Was my first bike.
Nice.
Yeah, I turned it into a bobber. So everything it didn't need, I cut off it and just had fun with it. And rode that around for a couple of years.
Now, is that the red bike that I've seen you on before, or is that a different bike?
That is a Yamaha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the same bike. I've owned a lot of bikes.
Okay.
Yeah, I get bored and I'm like, I want to try that one.
Yeah, spicy brain things, I get it, yeah. But tell us more about that Virago. It's a 250?
Yeah, Virago 250.
I love that 250 era, where it's before the rules changed regarding LAMS approved motorcycles where, before you had your open license, everything had to be capped at 250cc. And then to jump from 250 to 1000, it was a lot for a lot of people. Then the rules changed, but you have these beautiful cruiser bikes from that era capped at 250cc. Yeah. Tell us about your experiences riding the Virago.
Oh, I absolutely loved it. Absolutely. It's very comfortable, very easy to learn on, very confidence inspiring because it's quite low. It's very slow. You could redline it in first and let go of the clutch and it's not going to do anything scary. You can just putt along on it all day, super comfortable. Yeah, it's a good bike.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Right. And from there you moved on to another bike?
A Kawasaki Balius 250.
Okay.
It was an inline 4 250. Crazy high red line. It was like 18,000 RPM.
Yeah, wow.
It was beautiful. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what happened to that bike?
My dad ended up riding that bike.
So he's still got it?
No, he's got a Yamaha V-Star now. So same as the red bike.
Same as the Gyarados, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember the license plate very well.
Yeah.
Now, my hunch is telling me that's a Pokemon thing.
That is a Pokemon
that's
thing.
A Pokemon
I'm a huge
thing.
nerd. That is a Pokemon thing.
No, I was born in the wrong era. I feel like I should have been born in the Pokemon era.
Yeah.
I'm more of a D&D guy myself. But
Yeah, okay. Well, we want to get into D&D. So.
you want to get into D&D? Well, I know the right people. We'll talk after.
Okay, yeah.
We'll talk. But that's the cool thing about the motorcycle community as well. Like when you think about your typical biker or bike rider, you think, hardcore tattoos, maybe the stereotype, drinks, smokes, but then you dig a little deeper and you find out they're people just like you and me, into Pokemon, into D&D. I've met so many gamer motorcycle riders as well.
Yeah.
It's a pretty diverse community. So
you get people from every walk of life,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we touched on how you got into motorcycles. Now, I understand you were involved in a pretty significant accident in 2018.
Yes.
Do you want to walk us through that?
Yeah, I'll avoid too many of the grisly details because I don't want to put people off learning because I think they'd be scrolling and they come across it and go, oh, that's a little bit too much. But I'll probably steer clear of them a little bit. I don't like talking about it too much. I'm more like focusing on getting back on the bike after.
Yeah.
Because the gory details they're interesting and stuff, and I'll list what happened, but I won't go too much into it and just focus on sort of the aftermath of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so tell us about that day in 2018.
I was going to see a friend of mine because we had been looking after this dog, and I wanted to go up and see how the dog was doing and go say hi, and I left. I was only riding maybe 10 or 15 minutes, but it was at sunset. And sunset, sunrise are very dangerous times to ride because you can sort of be silhouetted by the sun and just disappear, which is, I think, a huge factor in it. I'm cruising along on, I think it was UtH Highway, and I'm sitting at a red light. It goes green. I do a couple head checks, have a look, it's clear. I start moving, and then this a high-ace van came from the right-hand side, ran through the red light and just hit the side of me. And then everything was black for a little bit.
Yep, and next thing you know, what's your next memory or recollection after?
I woke up on the floor. I could still hear the bike running, and there's just all these people looking at me. And I remember doing okay, can I move this? Can I move this? And my legs weren't moving. So I asked this lady, her name's Michelle. She was the nurse. She was behind me and had seen it all. And I said, are my legs still there? And she was like, oh, don't worry about that right now. And I remember thinking oh shit, this is not great.
Yeah. I mean, I've not been in an accident myself, but I can imagine what must be going through your mind. When you're asking a pretty mundane question, are my legs still there? It's a pretty binary question, like yes or no.
Yes,
you don't want to hear no, obviously. But if she's telling you don't worry about that, that's leaving
your brain goes to the worst case.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And so next recollection after that.
I just remember thinking okay, if they're not there, that's okay. You'll overcome it. You'll get on with it. If they are there, don't waste the opportunity because you could have lost them. Don't just take it for granted and do something good with the fact you still got them. Then the next thing I remember will be the ambulance rocking up and they give you the green whistle, the morphine whistle. So
the happy whistle, yeah.
Yeah, after that, I didn't care where my legs were or where anything was going on. I was in a pretty good state. I go to hospital and start all of that recovery process. That was a lot because I didn't know at the time, but I had a pretty significant brain injury. So that everything it's very hard to recollect all of that afterwards. I remember the accident and what happened in the immediate aftermath, but the recovery and the preceding year or so is very fuzzy. Yeah.
I want to backtrack a little bit. You mentioned that moment where they're asking you about your legs. Oh, you're asking about your legs, but you have the presence of mind to go, okay, yep, if they're there, cool, make the most of it. If they're not, no, all right, I can handle that as well. That takes a lot of mental strength to have that thought at that very moment.
Yeah, you have to make a decision, life's unpredictable and it can be stressful, but you can't, it's very easy to get stuck in the mindset of this is too much, I'm freaking out, but then nothing's gonna happen. Accept that it's scary, it is, but pick, okay, what are the things I can do to sort of play my best hand here and just cross your fingers.
I suppose you don't really have a choice in the situation, do you? Because you're stuck, you're on the floor, you've been in an accident, and there are going to be people caring for you regardless. So you can't really dictate the outcome.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, it's going one of two ways. I'll keep them, everything will be great, I'll figure that out, or I won't. And then you just have to pick and just see what happens, and try and be as positive as you can about it.
That's incredible. So tell us about the recovery process. What were the extent of your injuries, first of all?
I broke my lower back. The whole bottom of my leg was like almost severed. It was just the calf muscle holding that on. Broken ribs, the brain injury, a bunch of other little injuries. The main thing would have been the damage to the leg and the back, because that came with a lot of nerve damage. So sort of rehabilitating my right hand side from the hip down, especially the leg, was really the main extent, and then obviously the brain injury.
Yeah. Only if you're comfortable with it. Are you able to go into the brain injury and what came with that?
Yeah, it's hard to recollect all of that, obviously, because of the brain injury. For me, I sort of describe it as you're feeling very tired all the time. There's not a lot of ability to handle a cognitive load as easily as before the accident. But again, you're positive and you adapt to it. You get used to it. I just nap more now.
Nap more. And you turn 30, so there's I
have a good excuse now.
Good correlation.
No, I'm getting older.
Yeah, stand up, my back. I need a nap.
Exactly. Yeah. Most people can't even tell. Like I meet some people and they find out later down I had an accident. Like, I had no idea. I'm like, that's good, because I've recovered to a point where most people are unaware of it. So that's And that's what I find incredible, and that's what drew me to having this interview. Because when we spoke at Two Wheels One Love back, I think it would have been February, I was asking about accidents, and we only had, I think, three and a half minutes to have a little chat, and you were telling me about the accident, everything that went wrong with your body, the breakages, and then the rehab, and then some psychological trauma after that. I thought I really want to get this guy down for a chat, and so we can just dig a little deeper. That was a little teaser. The summer sneak peek. But one thing that, when I've had these chats with other riders about the accident, we haven't really gone into the psychological aspect of it, like the trauma, potential PTSD. Are you able to, if you're comfortable, of course, are you able to elaborate on that? Yeah, I think that's like the harder part, because bodies are pretty resilient. They will heal most things with a little bit of encouragement. It's almost a sure thing. It'll heal to the best of its ability. You just do your rehab and like hydrotherapy, whatever you can. But the psychological stuff, there's not a very linear path of how it's going to get better. You have the ups and downs of it, and there's no, here's a sheet, okay, go do hydrotherapy, go do this weight training, go do this and you'll get better. It's a lot of trial and error and sort of finding out what works for that individual, because it's very unique. Yeah, it's definitely a whole different ball game to like physical recovery. Yeah. So you've got a very optimistic outlook. I can garner that from you just in having a brief chat with you. Dealing with the physical rehab, didn't seem like it was going to be a huge deal for you from a psychological point of view. Yeah. Obviously, there's a training, and there may have been the frustration of maybe not being able to use a muscle for a particular while or that kind of thing. That takes time, but that'll come. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's almost a sure thing in my brain. But you can't exactly, put your brain on crutches and go, okay, now we're fixing your mental health. Correct. So talk us through that. What steps were you recommended as you take in order to try and get your mental health back on track? Have a good support network, which is kind of like where Riders Retreat sort of came from, to jump forward a little bit. But have a good support network, and be kind and patient to yourself, because you're learning to adapt to a whole new perception of the world. I was terrified of loud noises and roads and everything like that, and you can't pick on yourself for it. It's not your choice. You just go, okay, that sucks, man, but we're going to figure out how to get you comfortable with it, and slowly expose yourself to those things again in a controlled environment, and you will get better. But be patient and be really kind to yourself are the two main things. Because without that, it's not going to happen. So the accident happens in 2018. Physically, when did you feel like you were able to be independent and autonomous? I tried from day one. Day one, I waited for the nurses to leave my hospital room and snuck outside to go have a cigarette, and they went mental. They're like, you shouldn't be walking. I'm like, I don't like to feel like I can't do anything. I'll try it. If it doesn't work, I'll collect myself and I'll try a different approach, and just see. I'll figure it out. Yeah, I get that. I can't sit still myself. I've never been in that situation myself, but I can imagine, depending on the extent of the injury, whatever they may be,
I'll probably try to get up straight away. I'll probably fall flat on my face, but I've tried it. Okay, cross that one off, try that one again later, kind of thing.
Yeah. Just try a different approach, see what happens.
Yeah, that's right. But vastly different to the psychological recovery.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And again, you don't have to answer this question, but was there a degree of PTSD?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, for like the first 6 months, I kept that very optimistic mindset because the physical stuff, I was seeing improvement. I was seeing like the light at the end of the tunnel in the process. I was like, okay, that's all good. But then I started having like just restless sleep, and to the extent of like my housemates would be washing the dishes, and just the sound of the metal dishes in the pan would like make me very warm and elevated, and I couldn't figure it out. And I went in to speak to my doctor, and they're like, yeah, look, we think it's that. Screened me for it, and yeah, then a whole new obstacle to learn how to navigate.
Yeah, because we hear about PTSD, it's this weird phenomenon. Like it might be a war veteran or someone else or something else, and certain things trigger them. We don't know what causes it, but it might be the most mundane thing. In this case, dishes.
Yeah.
And that sends you, pardon the expression, mental.
Yes. Yeah.
Was that the only side effect that you felt?
Oh no, there was a plethora. I was the sound of cars. Just knowing I was near a road, and the unpredictability of like, that's a random person in a 2-ton car going down the road. Your brain puts all of that information in because it gets, what PTSD is like your brain, it gets in its fight or flight mode, and it kind of gets stuck in there a little bit. So your brain starts processing everything from a survival first perspective, which is why I try and have the positive outlook to sort of help, the cognitive behaviorals of my mind to look at a more positive outcome first instead of being like survival first. No, be positive. You're outside, you're near a road, you're walking, you just keep rewriting it.
This is going to seem like an odd question because normal is very subjective. When did you start feeling normal, like you could cope with the everyday, day-to-day mundane things?
I don't.
Yeah.
I try my best. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's still ongoing?
Yeah. It's just, I came to terms with it a long time ago. I don't think I'll get back to like how I was, but as long as I can look back on last week, last month, last year and be like, I've improved, I'm good. I probably won't ever stop recovering. It's just part of it now.
And this is the thing that people don't get with mental illness or PTSD related issues, is that there never really is a cure.
Yeah, you're correct.
It's just a journey to try to be a little better than yesterday.
Exactly, yeah. And not better is in, a lot of people are like, oh, better is like being positive all the time and stuff, but it's not. It's being able to handle it better. You'll still have days where it's harder to handle, and that's okay, but as long as your toolbox is growing and you can handle it better averagely, that's good. That's what you want to aim for, not constant improvement.
I love that word you just used, toolbox, because that conjures up images in my mind. Okay, your tool set, you open a toolbox, okay, this is how I'm going to deal with the situation today in this very moment. I may not have a tool for it yet, but I'll make a note of it, I'll get a tool for it tomorrow, or I may have the right tool for it right now and I can deal with that straight away.
Yes. Having
a history of mental health issues myself, that completely resonates with me, and I'm sure it'll resonate with people watching this as well. Accidents in 2018, recoveries over a period of years.
Yeah.
Obviously you got back on the bike.
Yes.
Okay. When did you get back on the bike? And can you tell us about building up the courage again to get back on the bike?
Oh, it was hard. So like the first thing I did, my dad had a bike. He had a CB500X, the little adventure bike Honda made, and it was in the garage. And I would always get super anxious looking at it, and one day I'm like, I'm gonna sit on it. Full PTSD episode, couldn't do it, had a meltdown, and I just kept redoing that. To the point where I could sit on it. I'd sit on it and have a cigarette and just try and stay calm doing that. That went on for a period of months, and I was like, I wanna ride it around the block and see what happens. Same thing, but you just keep doing it and it gets easier and easier every time. Got riding it around the suburb, then took it down on Tonkin Highway, did a couple exits and came back and slowly just built up the distance I could do on it. But I noticed my body was struggling, so I was like, I want to get a comfier bike. Then I got Gyarados and started building that.
Which is a gorgeous bike, by the way. Could we talk a bit about Gyarados at the moment?
100%.
Because that for me is an iconic bike. I know that you've got is it a CBR 500 you got now?
It's CBR 650R.
650R, yeah. Beautiful bike. That shade of grey is chef's kiss.
Everyone loves the grey. At first I didn't, but it's grown on me.
Yeah, it is a very striking colour. I first noticed you at meets, however, on Gyarados, on the red bike. Tell us about the work you put into that bike.
Oh, that's had so much. So I bought it stock. It had some Vance & Hines exhausts on it and an aftermarket headlight, and that was it.
And that's a V-Star 650?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. I was doing some research online about getting a custom exhaust, and I was sort of just looking at what other people had done, and everyone had done like the bobber style. And I always liked the Vikla Harleys, you know, nice and low on air ride with the fishtails.
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder if I can do that on a V-Star. So I reached out to Billy at Rogue Motorcycles, took it into him, and we're just chatting, and he's like, man, I think we can do it. So I gave him the key, and he did the exhaust, he fit a front wheel, got some saddlebags painted for it, did the headlight assembly. Then I got it back and just started adding more stuff to it. Currently it's in pieces, getting painted one color. Like it never ends.
It's a stunning bike.
Yeah.
So you've done a lot of work on that yourself?
Yeah, it's kind of a community build. Like Rogue took the stock bike and really took my vision and pushed it in a direction. Then I've done a bunch to it. I've had friends help me and do stuff I don't know how to do. Even right now, my friend's painting it because there's something I can't do. So like, everyone sort of chipped in to build that thing.
Well, was working on the V-Star like therapy for you?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was able to take something I wasn't necessarily comfortable with, being a motorcycle. And like I mentioned earlier, I love engineering and that sort of like just thinking about how stuff interacts and how it works. And I was able to focus more on that side of it. And then it sort of desensitized me to the response I'd get from looking at motorcycles. So just sitting in the garage, I sit there for hours, you know, figuring out how to do stuff and envisioning what I wanted. And
so back to getting back on the bike, because I think when we had that chat at Rogue, I think it was 2022 or 23 that you first got back on the bike?
Yeah, it was about 3 years after the accident.
3 years after?
3 or 4 years after.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so you're taking baby steps, getting on the bike a little bit, taking a little further out each time, getting more comfortable with the idea, and then finding a bike that you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
And was that the V-Star or something else before that?
No, it's the V-Star.
It was the V-Star, yeah. It's a very bougie looking bike.
I only had my RE. I still only have my RE. I need to go do my R class. But I was like, I just want as close to a full frame cruiser as I can get because that's going to be the comfiest to do kilometers on.
Absolutely.
I'm struggling even with the CBR now. Like we rode a fair amount yesterday down to Rockingham, and my back, it doesn't handle it as well as it would.
I can attest to that as a man encroaching on his mid-40s. I can attest to that. But you got back on the bike.
Yes.
That's pretty significant for you.
Yeah.
Right. And how does that feel doing your first full ride in a long time?
Oh, it's fantastic because it's a milestone for your hard work because you don't get a lot of points of reference with mental health, especially from an internal perspective, because you're just seeing every day and it's such small changes. But when you get a big moment like that, you're like, holy shit, there has been improvement. You know, it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it around this time you get the idea for Riders Retreat?
Yeah, so the idea for Riders Retreat kind of came immediately. Remember how I said, I was like, oh, if I keep them like, be more positive. I remember thinking like, I need to find a way to sort of rewrite my life. Because at that point, I wasn't living the healthiest life. And I was like, if I do keep them, if the universe lets me keep them, be positive, find a way to sort of give back. So it was kind of a little thought immediately, and then it just slowly developed over the years of like, I want to focus on the automotive community, the motorcycle community, because that's what got me through it, you know, meeting people on the Facebook groups when I was asking about advice on how to build the V-Star, and that's what kept me going. I was like, if I can find or create a platform to nurture that in people and get people connecting, like that's what I want to do.
Yeah. And you mentioned a friend, Jasmine, who kind of kicked you at the backside to get it moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was obviously the catalyst for everything to get moving.
Yes.
Right? And as things start moving along a little quicker after that. So from idea to conception, what does that look like?
We were sitting there having conversations and like coming up with names, and I remember drawing up like the serotonin logo on her iPad,
which is on the shirt.
Which is on the shirt. Yeah, I was
good.
sitting there on Procreate because I don't know how to do any of this stuff. You know, I'm just messing around. I was like, oh, it would be cool to like be able to fund free events, and we're like, oh, we need some way of funding that. So like we're looking at shirts and stickers and a few other things, and then one day she's sitting there and she's like, oh, I have a machine in my study we could maybe use to make t-shirts.
Is it a cry cut?
Yes.
Yeah, we know
And
cry
I was
cuts.
like, I don't know what that thing is. I'm not very good at technology. If it's not a computer game, I'm not very good at it.
Preach. Yeah.
Yeah. She said, no, I can show you how to do all of that. And I think we made stickers first.
Stickers first and like ones for the bikes.
Are these stickers over here?
Yes. So we'd made some of these. We made some Riders Retreat ones, and we made
Hold that close
like
to
the Instagram
to the
ones.
camera.
So I made Instagram ones just for the handle. So like these. I didn't make this one, but we made some like this. After playing around with the software a bit more, there's different materials you can put in it to get a stencil, so it cuts this out.
Yeah, nice.
And then you can heat press it on. And yeah,
Incredible.
I made a few of these. Not up for sale yet. A lot of people are asking me for them.
Yeah, I'm keen. I'm keen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I understand last year for Christmas you held your first official event.
Yes. Yeah. Because I know some people at Christmas time might not have a place to go. And I hate the thought of that, someone spending Christmas or New Year's by themselves. So I just wanted to make sure there was a space where if someone wanted to come over and just have a feed and play Uno and hang out, like it's there for them,
That's cool. That's cool. All right, so let's pretend that we're a new rider, or I'm a new rider, and you've gone through the experiences that you have before. What kind of advice would you give to someone considering getting into motorcycle riding?
I'd probably focus on trying to get them their first bike, because that's something exciting. It's going to be very positive for them, and a good learning experience, because they can go out and try 10, 15 bikes that sort of fit the style that they like, their budget, and they find one that's comfortable, and focus on that aspect, and then take them out for some rides in a car park. And like we love motorcycles, we spent a great deal of time on it. Everything has revolved around that, and being able to share that passion and the knowledge you've gained, it's enjoying. It's enjoyment,
Yeah, and something about safety, motorcycle safety, having gone through what you've been through, and clearly that wasn't your fault. It just goes to show that you can be the safest rider out there, do the most sensible things when everyone's watching, but sometimes life can just throw a curveball at you and everything can go wrong.
Yeah.
So what can be gleaned from that about just being a safe rider in general?
I think for mine, the biggest thing was sort of figuring out what I could do differently. And a lot of people are like, the light goes green, do a head check, and move on. And it becomes sort of an autonomous thing, Make sure you really switch on, do head checks, do extra head checks. Don't worry so much about just going through the motions. Make sure you're paying attention, because a lot of people, especially when you ride a lot, it does become not autopilot, but you're not as alert as you possibly should be. You go for an intersection and you're just like, the light's green, you have a little look and you're like, no, I'm good, or a roundabout, you come up to it and you're like, doesn't look like there's anything there, I can go. But
Yeah, I suppose there is a habit of becoming too complacent and comfortable, especially if you have been riding for a long time.
yes.
So to always have your spidey senses tingling.
Yeah, especially if you've done a long day of riding. Like you ride for like an hour and a half without a break, your brain's switched off. Stop, have a coffee, have something to eat, and like wake your brain back up a little bit.
Absolutely. Okay, so his name's Jasper. He's the he's the founder of Riders Retreat. Riders Retreat is a fantastic initiative to help people who are looking to belong, I suppose. And it involves motorcycles, so it's really bringing the community together.
Yeah.
All right.
We're looking at running a barbecue soon.
Okay.
At Wyman Park, free food, drinks, just to get everyone.
Wyman Park, that's a good ride out there as well.
Yeah, because there's a train line there, so if people, can't get down, it should be accessible for them. Because we've got people that want to bring their kids out and, a real family day.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
Joe, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing your story with us.
Yeah.
And all good.
I hope some of that's usable.
It's all usable. It's all usable, mate. Appreciate it.